أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear student, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's our third lecture of Porter X-ray diffraction, and the course is X-ray diffraction techniques. Course code is CAM 5134. The key concept which we will discuss today are X-ray spectra, characteristic lines, sealed glass X-ray tube, determination of wavelength of X-rays, X-ray filters, monochromatic and broad spectrum of X-rays, graphite versus quartz monochromators, X-ray spectra, characteristic lines. Sealed glass X-ray tube. Of the two experimental methods for creating X-rays in the laboratory, only the sealed glass X-ray tube is in common use for powder diffraction studies. In recent years, the sealed glass tube has been improved by the use of ceramics, but otherwise the two types are very similar. The latest development have been the production of micro focus tubes but their use is still not established in the broader diffraction community, probably because of cost and as yet unproven reliability. Shown below is a picture of a typical sealed glass tube, X-ray tube. The windows are made of beryllium metal, which has a very low absorption cross section for X-rays. The tube shown here has a copper anode, and electrons are produced by heating a tungsten filament. This is a sealed glass X-ray tube. यहाँ पे वैक्यूम क्रिएट किया जाता है. इट्स मेड ऑफ ग्लास. ये यहाँ पे सिरेमिक जो हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि सिरेमिक इसमें है, ये सिरेमिक है. यहाँ पे ये हाई वोल्टेज कॉन्टैक्ट यहीं के यहाँ पे आपका वोल्टेज अप्लाई किया जाता है. ये स्टील का है. पहले आप देखिए ये ग्लास है, देन उसके बाद ये स्टील है. ये जो आपके पास है ये सिरेमिक है. ये फोकस कप है आपके दोनों साइड पे फिलामेंट के लगे हुए हैं. ये आपका फिलामेंट टंगस्टन है. ये आपका एनोड है जो कि यहाँ पे कॉपर का बना हुआ है. ये बेरिलियम विंडो जहाँ से एक्स-रेज प्रोड्यूस होने के बाद आपकी एक्स-रे ट्यूब से निकलती हैं. यहाँ से वाटर, ये वाटर फिल्टर है. यहाँ से वाटर आपका इन होगा और ये एनोड के साइडों से होता हुआ यहाँ से ये बाहर चला जाएगा इसको कूल करने के लिए, क्योंकि जब ये आपके इलेक्ट्रॉन की बम्बार्डमेंट यहाँ पे होगी, ये फिलामेंट से जो निकल के आएंगे, मेन जो टंगस्टन फिलामेंट से आएंगे, तो ये एनोड हीट अप हो जाएगा. तो उसको कूल करने के लिए आपका ये वाटर यहाँ से सर्कुलेट होता रहेगा. इज इट क्लियर? ये ओवरऑल पिक्चर है, ये क्रॉस सेक्शन है, ये आपका एक्सरेड स्टील ग्लास ट्यूब का जो है ओवरऑल पिक्चर दिखाया गया. The schematic diagram below emphasize the key aspects behind the operation of the X-ray tube. The exact operating voltage of the tube depends on the characteristic of the filament, but generally the heat load on the anode is of the order of kilowatts. Most of the energy of the electrons hitting the anode target is dissipated as heat, and so the tube is water cooled as indicated in the diagrams. X-rays are generated in all directions, but the optimum angle for viewing the source is typically at about 6 degree to the anode surface. ये जो चीज़ है आपकी, ये फर्स्ट लेक्चर के अंदर क्लियर की गई हुई है कि ये 6 डिग्री पे आपका जो है वो एनोड की सरफेस होनी चाहिए. जी स्टूडेंट, तो ये आपका यहाँ पे ये आपका फिलामेंट है 40 किलोवाट, उसको जो है वो वोल्टेज आप अप्लाई करेंगे. ये कैथोड है फिलामेंट आपका. तो यहाँ से आपके जो इलेक्ट्रॉन है उनकी बम्बार्डमेंट आपके ये एनोड पे होगी. क्लियर? तो एनोड के ऊपर जब इसकी बम्बार्डमेंट होगी, यहाँ से वाटर इसको सर्कुलेट कर रहा है इसको कूल करने के लिए, तो यहाँ से एनोड से फिर एक्सरेज जो हैं वो बेरिलियम विंडो से बाहर निकलेंगी. इज इट क्लियर नाउ? X-ray tubes are described as short or long anode depending on the distance between the middle of the beryllium window and the upper surface of the tube housing. In addition, X-ray tubes are described as broad, normal, fine and long fine focus. The photograph below shows a close-up of the tungsten filament of a long fine focus tube with the scale in millimeters. The find describe the coil width which is approximately 0.5 millimeter, and the long refer to the length which is 12 millimeter. Fine focus tubes are similar but have shorter filament which is 8 millimeter, normal which is 1 millimeter in width, and broad 2 millimeter in width. Focus tubes produce X-rays of a lower brightness and are thus rarely used for powder diffraction work. Here, uh, this is a filament, and here this is a scale. The final point to make is that you may have noticed that the X-ray tube has 4 windows. 2 of these are parallel to the filament and the other 2 are perpendicular to it. If a spot source of X-rays is required, then the tube should be arranged so that a window parallel to the filament axis is used. In contrast to when a line source of X-rays is required, when a window perpendicular to the filament axis is used. Note that most modern powder diffractometer make use of a line source in contrast to the older Debye cameras which made use of the spot source. X-ray radiation for diffraction measurements is produced by a sealed tube or rotating anode. Sealed X-ray tubes tend to operate at 1.8 to 3 kilowatt. Rotating anode X-ray tubes produce much more flux because they operate at 9 to 18 kilowatt. A rotating anode spin the anode at 6000 rpm, helping to distribute heat over a larger area and therefore allowing the tube to be run at higher power without melting the target. Both sources generate X-rays by striking the anode target with an electron beam from a tungsten filament. The target must be water-cooled. The target and filament must be contained in a vacuum. ये एक्स-रे ट्यूब अगेन दिखाई गई है। यहाँ से वाटर आपका इन है, यहाँ से आउट। ये आपका फिलामेंट मीन कैथोड टंगस्टन फिलामेंट, वैक्यूम क्रिएट किया गया है। ये ग्लास, ये मेटल, आपकी जो बॉडी है ये मेटल, ये बेरिलियम विंडो है। यहाँ से आपकी जो है वो एक्सेस आ रही हैं, जो बाहर निकल रही हैं, सेम जो पहले हम देख चुके हैं। तो यहाँ से इलेक्ट्रॉन आपके जो है ये कॉपर पे, मीन एनोड पे जो है वो स्ट्राइक करेंगे, तो यहाँ से एक्सरेज जो है आपकी जनरेट होंगी, और यहाँ पे आपने एसी करंट जो है वो हाई वोल्टेज जो है वो इसको प्रोवाइड करनी है। इज इट क्लियर? नाउ वी मूव नेक्स्ट। The wavelength of X-rays is determined by the anode of the X-ray source. Electrons from the filament strike the target anode, producing characteristic radiation via the photoelectric effect. Mean कि जब आपके इलेक्ट्रॉन जो हैं वो एनोड जो आपका है मेटल लाइक कॉपर जो है उसके ऊपर स्ट्राइक करेंगे, तो उसमें से आपकी करेक्टरिस्टिक रेडिएशन मीन जो है एक्सरे जो है वो प्रोड्यूस होंगी वाया फोटो इलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट। ये हमने डिटेल से देखा कि जब आपके के अंदर से इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है वो निकलता है, तो उसमें से आपका जो है के बाद एल जो है उसके इलेक्ट्रॉन उसमें आते हैं, तो के अल्फा, देन आपका वो के एम के आ जाएंगे, तो के बीटा। तो इस तरह जो उसके अंदर से रेडिएशन जो है वो वॉल्यूम मीन के जो एक्सरे जो है वो प्रोड्यूस हो रही है। The anode material determine the wavelength of characteristic radiation. While we would prefer a monochromatic source, the X-ray beam actually consists of several characteristic wavelength of X-rays. जैसे ये यहाँ पे दिखाया गया है कि ये आपके इनबाउंड इलेक्ट्रॉन यहाँ से आपके वो आई रेडिए वो जो इलेक्ट्रॉन स्ट्राइक किया, यहाँ से उसने के जो इलेक्ट्रॉन को वो रिजेक्ट किया, के शेल इजेक्टेड, के शेल इलेक्ट्रॉन आउट बाउंडेड इलेक्ट्रॉन यहाँ से जो वो बाहर की तरफ निकल गया। फिर इसी तरह यहाँ से ये आएंगे, वो जंप करके नीचे आपके आएंगे, तो उसके रिजल्ट में यहाँ से आपके पास एक्सरे फोटॉन जो है वो बेटी यानी कि जो आपके पास एक्सरे जो है वो निकलेंगी। ये वहीं दिखाया गया है कि ये आपका जो के शेल है, ये एल है, ये एम है। तो अगर के अंदर जो एल के इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है उस वैकेंसी को फिल करने के लिए आएंगे, तो वो आपके पास के अल्फा रेडिएशन होंगी, और अगर ये एम के आएंगे तो ये आपका के बीटा रेडिएशन है। तो ये मोलिब्डेनम के केस में आपके पास के अल्फा और के बीटा है, और ये कॉपर के केस में आपके पास के अल्फा और के बीटा रेडिएशन जो है वो है। नाउ व्हाट आर एक्स-रे फिल्टर्स? The previous slide showed that the spectrum from a sealed X-ray tube is composed of several X-ray lines. Laboratory powder diffraction requires an X-ray source that is essentially monochromatic, and so the K-beta line in the X-ray spectrum needs to be removed। यानी कि जो आपका है इसमें के बीटा लाइन को हम रिमूव करें, मीन ये जो नॉइस हम इसे कह सकते हैं, इन अदर वर्ड ये जो नॉइस आपका प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है उसको हम मिनिमाइज करें या उसको खत्म करें। मेटल फॉयल फिल्टर आर वन वे ऑफ अचीविंग दिस। द फॉलोइंग फोटोग्राम shows the typical metal used to filter X-ray produced by a sealed X-ray tube, that is ये निकल, आयरन, मैंगनीज, वेनेडियम और जिरकोनियम। यहाँ पे ये आपका जो है ये निकल है, ये आपका आयरन, ये आपका मैंगनीज, ये वेनेडियम और ये आपका जिरकोनियम। मीन के ये आपके जो हैं वो यहाँ पे यूज किए जाएंगे फिल्टर जो है एज अ मेटल जो फिल्टर के तौर पे यूज हो रही हैं। Shown below is a photograph of the X-ray filter available on a standard Siemens X-ray tube housing. The beam passing through the top filter which in this case is a nickel foil, this one. Alternative metal foils can be set by rotation of the filter housing to the appropriate position. One position on the filter housing is left open for the case when a filter is not required. The top of the X-ray tube is visible above the tube housing. A cover plate with beam stop, which is not shown here, is then fitted over the filter housing during normal use. Filters reduce the intensity of the K-beta line in the X-ray spectrum compared to K-alpha as explained below. Note that absorption filters cannot be used to remove the unwanted K-alpha 2 component from K-alpha 1 radiation. Filter exploit the X-ray absorption edge of the particular element at wavelength longer than the absorption edge, that is just above the edge. The absorption of the X-ray is considerably less than the wavelength shorter than the absorption edge, which is just below the edge as shown below for nickel metal. Note that the filter also removes much of the high energy background radiation. The choice of filter material depends upon the choice of anode material in the X-ray tube as shown in the following table. This is anode, this is filter. Anode copper, cobalt, iron, chromium, molybdenum, and filter are nickel, iron, manganese, vanadium, and zirconium. From the table, it can be seen that the ideal choice of material for an X-ray filter is the metal whose atomic number is 1 less than that of the anode target metal for first row transition metal or 2 less for second row transition metal. The optimum thickness of the filter can be determined from the mass absorption law, which is I lambda over I naught lambda is equal to exp minus mu over rho lambda px, where mu over rho is the mass absorption coefficient at the wavelength lambda, rho is the density of the material, which for nickel metal is 8.92 gram per centimeter, and I lambda and I naught lambda are the transmitted and incident X-ray intensities respectively. The mass absorption coefficient of nickel for copper K alpha and copper K beta are 49.2 and 286 centimeters square per gram respectively. The table below shows the percentage transmission for various thickness of nickel foil, and this is the thickness in centimeter. Here is I over I naught percentage for copper K alpha, and here is I over I naught percentage for copper K beta, and this is the reduction ratio. It can be seen from the table that the optimum thickness has to be a compromise between reducing the intensity of the unwanted copper K beta and reducing the intensity of the desired copper K alpha. Most commercial systems employing a nickel filter with a copper anode target will choose the thickness of the foil so as to give a reduction ratio in the range 25 to 1 to 50 to 1 mean. Foil between 15 and 20 thick, micrometer thick. From the table, it can be seen that this range of foil thickness will diminish the desired radiation by approximately a factor of 2. Beta filters can also be used to reduce the intensity of K beta and W wavelength radiation, mean tungsten wavelength radiation. A material with an absorption edge between the K alpha and K beta wavelength can be used as a beta filter. This is often the element just below the target material on the periodic table. For example, when using copper radiation, copper K alpha is equal to 1.541 angstrom, copper K beta 1.387 angstrom. The nickel absorption edge should be 1.488 angstrom. The nickel absorption of copper radiation is 50% of copper K alpha, 99% of copper K beta, as shown in the this diagram. Some atoms absorb incident X-rays and fluoresce them as X-ray of a different wavelength. The absorption of X-rays decreases the diffracted signal. The fluorescent X-rays increase the background noise. The increased background noise from fluorescent X-rays can be removed by using a diffracted beam monochromator, an energy sensitive detector. The diffracted beam signal can only be increased by using a different wavelength of radiation. The most problematic material two are those 2 and 3 below the target material. For copper, the element that fluoresce the most are iron and cobalt. This is iron and cobalt. ये सारी जो आपकी फ्लोरेसेंस काज करती हैं, पीरियोडिक टेबल है ये. Monochromatic and broad spectrum of X-rays. X-rays can be created by bombarding a metal target with high energy electron. Some of these electrons excite electron from core state in the metal, which then recombine producing highly monochromatic X-rays. These are referred to as characteristic X-ray lines. Other electrons which are deaccelerated by the periodic potential of the metal produce a broad spectrum of X-ray frequencies. Depending on the diffraction experiment, either or both of these X-rays spectra can be used. Historically, X-ray filters were used to reduce the unwanted white radiation from the X-ray source and to eliminate the K-beta radiation as much as possible. The drawback of filter is that the background radiation is still high and that the transmitted radiation is still not very monochromatic. An alternative and more selective way to produce a beam of radiation with a narrower wavelength distribution is by using single crystal monochromators. In practice, single crystals are made up of lot of little crystal blocks, all approximately aligned in the same orientation to form a mosaic. The distribution of the alignment of the blocks determines the so-called mosaic spread of the crystal. Two types of monochromator may be distinguished based on the difference being in the mosaic spread of the crystal. Two commonly used materials are pyrolytic graphite and silicon, which can be used to make broadband and narrowband mean alpha, lambda, delta lambda over lambda monochromators respectively. For pyrolytic graphite, the mosaic spread is relatively broad in contrast to silicon, in which the alignment of the mosaic blocks is near perfect. The monochromator works by reflection of the wavelength that obey Bragg's law for the particular d-spacing of the monochromator. For a silicon crystal, which is cubic, with the unit cell size equal to 5.4309 angstrom, the largest d-spacing, which is from the 1,1 planes, is 3.136 angstrom. Application of the Bragg equation, that is n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta, shows that for copper K alpha 1, the diffraction condition will be satisfied for 2 theta is equal to 28.442 degree, while for copper K beta 2, it will be satisfied for 2 theta is equal to 28.514 degree, giving a difference in Bragg angle of only 0.072 degree. Hence, only monochromator crystals with a narrow band pass, for example silicon, will be able to separate the K alpha 1 and K beta 2 wavelength from a laboratory copper X-ray source. By contrast, pyrolytic graphite monochromators with their wide band will pass both K alpha wavelength but not K beta, for which the Bragg angle is considerably different. Monochromator crystal partially polarize an unpolarized X-ray beam because the operating principle is one of Bragg diffraction. In theory, the effect of polarization on the intensity of the diffraction pattern should be taken into account during data processing, but in practice the correction effect is relatively small and often ignored. What material make good laboratory monochromator? The following properties are desired for any material used as a laboratory X-ray monochromator. First, the crystal must be mechanically strong and stable in the beam. The crystal should have suitable interplanar distances d so that the desired wavelength lambda can be obtained. The structure factor corresponding to the d-spacing must be as large as possible. That is, the Bragg reflection should be very intense. The mosaicisty of the crystal must be of suitable magnitude, and the distribution of crystal block orientation should preferably be Gaussian. The absorption of the material should be low. The combination of d and lambda should be chosen so that 2 theta is small. This is to minimize intensity loss due to polarization and geometric effect. The crystal should be reasonably easy to cut. The crystals should have a small coefficient of thermal expansion so that the wavelength is essentially unaffected by any fluctuation in ambient temperature that are likely to be encountered. The most common material for laboratory X-ray monochromator are pyrolytic graphite for broadband use and either silicon, germanium or quartz for narrowband use. Laboratory usage. In the laboratory, the monochromator crystal can be positioned before or after the sample. It is common practice to use graphite as a post-sample monochromator, but to use a silicon as a pre-sample monochromator. The main reason for this is one of mechanical stability, since narrow band pass monochromators require an extremely precise alignment in order to effectively separate the 2K alpha wavelength, and this cannot be maintained if the monochromator is made to move with the detector arm. You might wonder what laboratory X-ray monochromators look like in practice. The following picture shows two types that we have in our laboratory. These are different type of monochromator. The left hand picture shows a graphite monochromator that was used as post sample monochromator on a Bragg Britanno diffractometer. The flat graphite crystal is stuck onto surface of the metal plate. The right hand picture shows a germanium monochromator crystal. It is cut excitingly thin, less than 0.5 millimeter, so that it can be gently bent by clamping it between the two curved metal surfaces of the monochromator housing. What is the effect? The choice of whether to use a broadband or narrowband monochromator will depend on your experimental objectives. For some experiments where high intensities are required, the graphite monochromator will be better. In addition, a post-sample graphite monochromator can reduce the effect of fluorescence from the sample. For high-resolution work, pre-sample narrowband monochromators are often preferred. A comparison of good data obtaining with both type of monochromator is as shown below. Graphite versus quartz monochromator. The Porter diffraction pattern below are of Yetra, white Y2O3. This is the formula of Yetra, and this is the Porter diffraction pattern for Yetra. Annihilate at 1200 degree. for several days and measured on two different Bragg Britanno diffractometer, both equipped with copper X-ray tube. The first data set was measured on a diffractometer equipped with the post-sample graphite monochromator. The splitting of the diffraction peak due to the presence of K alpha 1 and K beta 2 radiation is clearly illustrated. The second data was measured with another diffractometer equipped with this equipped this time with the pre-sample quartz monochromator. The peaks due to the K alpha 2 radiation have vanished, but at a cost to the diffracted intensity. Monochromators remove unwanted wavelength of radiation from the incident or diffracted X-ray beam. Diffraction from a crystal monochromator can be used to select one wavelength of radiation and provide energy discrimination. An incident beam monochromator might be used to select only K alpha 1 radiation for the tube source. A diffracted beam monochromator, such as on the Rijaku RU300, may be used to remove fluoresced photons K beta or W contamination photons from reaching the detector. Using the RSM slit when receiving slit, the monochromator removed nearly 75% of unwanted wavelength of radiation. When the RSM slit is used, over 99% of the unwanted wavelength of radiation can be removed from the beam. जी स्टूडेंट, एनी क्वेश्चन? कोई भी क्वेश्चन आपका हो तो आप मुझे जो है वो कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं मेरे ईमेल आईडी के ऊपर। कोई भी आपका इस लेक्चर से रेलेवेंट क्वेश्चन है तो। ओके, थैंक यू सो मच। अल्लाह हाफिज।